What's going on, everybody? Today is Tuesday, April 8th. I'm not sure what episode number we're on. I should have looked beforehand. But it is an episode of Mass Debaters. It's been a minute here. I think we are the baseball season's in full swing. We got the Masters coming up. We've got some NFL draft rumors starting to percolate. Later this month, we got the draft. And I think our own resident. What will your title be for this? Are you an insider?
I like the term draft doctor.
Draft doctor.
Draft
Okay.
doctor. I have spent the last probably week just scrolling through mock drafts like no other. Just every. You ever heard of Walter Football?
Yeah. Walter Picks.
No, there's one called Walter Football. I've heard of
Okay.
Walter Picks. There's another one called Walter Football. I've been gassing their mock drafts.
Okay. Oh boy,
I
Zach Wheeler just gave up a 3-run homer.
I have a question for the pod before we get started.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on projecting trades in mock drafts?
I think it's. I think if you're gonna go like full swing and be like, I'm doing a mock draft, then you can do it, but it's dumb. Like
Yeah,
there's not going to be a draft that there's not trades,
I
but I think
agree.
trying to project them is dumb.
I agree. Eric, any thoughts?
I think it's the same. I mean, kind of. I don't know. I feel like I would have expected the two of you to be pro
I'm
mock
just
draft trade.
I get annoyed because it messes the whole feng shui of the draft up. Like this mock draft I'm looking at right now from CBS Sports has the Raiders trading up to draft Travis Hunter too, and the whole feng shui of the draft is now off because like you have the Browns picking at 6 here, and it's a mess. If I think
I
if you want
would.
to do it, you have to like give that caveat before I start reading.
It feels to me like if you're doing a mock draft and you're not Mel Kiper, it's more of like, okay, team needs. I feel like based on vibes of the fit, I'm just gonna go straight down through. It kind of feels to me like if you're a regular guy adding trades to your mock draft, you're really trying to like prove that you know ball, and I feel like it's doing too much.
See, Mel
And I
Kiper's
feel like
gone
you're going to
Hollywood
get
on us.
watered down. I feel like the quarterback's taken. You're always the top like five or so picks or whatever. Always, you're going to have a lot of teams that could use a quarterback. And in a year like this year where the quarterbacks are kind of down, it it feels like it's getting watered down with these trades and things nowadays. Although people are still going to make a mistake and take because they feel like they have to take a quarterback when you're in that position. But
I'd agree. I think I have a special beef with Mel Kiper right now because he's gone Hollywood on us and is behind a paywall. So I have not been able to read any of his mock drafts. So
jeez,
he can lie on draft night and say that he had this exact pick in his mock draft, and no one would know because who the fuck pays for ESPN Plus Gold Premium, whatever the fuck it's called now.
yeah, that's
So
crazy. Watch them have like we're gonna probably have to download like Fubo or something to get the draft.
I'll be dead. I won't know. I'll kill myself before I download Fubo.
I'll just
Um,
keep refreshing the browser on my phone, and then I'll put my dick away and watch the draft.
but so as the resident draft doctor, I've compiled 6 NFL draft rumors for you guys, and
Okay.
I'm going to play a game of in honor of the stock market crashing, rebounding, and crashing again. Buy, sell, or stay on these 6 NFL draft rumors.
Okay.
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 Are you
So
going to participate as well, or is it just Eric and I?
yes, I'll participate. I'll go last though because I
Okay.
have strong feelings on all of these.
Okay.
So we're going to start off. Lewis, you're going to get the first crack at this one. Buy,
All
sell,
right.
or stay. The Tennessee Titans are locked in on Cam Ward at number 1.
I buy that. I think I saw somewhere that they canceled all their workouts or meetings with Shadur and Travis Hunter, and I
Yep, I
don't
saw
think
that.
that there's anybody
Yeah.
else really. I do think that like they're a total tire fire, but they when you need everything and quarterback, you might as well try to get quarterback right. It kind of fixes everything immediately. I don't know if he makes them like automatically like an 8-win team or something like that, but I do think he is the pick, and I
Okay.
do think they'll make it.
I think
Okay.
I would buy also just because I feel like he's a better version of. They're not exactly the same player, but I think he's just better than Will Levis. And when Will Levis played okay, they kind of had a little bit of a spark. So I don't mind that. I do. I think a lot of people think Cam Ward's like he seems very volatile now. Like you'll have somebody who thinks he's going to be an absolute bust, and then some people who think he's the kind of the clear cut best quarterback in the draft. And I think I might be one of the only people who thinks he's going to be just fine. You know,
I
so
think
Yeah,
like, this is a decent pick there.
the biggest knock I've heard on him is that like I feel like this is a common take. People have heard this, but if Cam Ward was in the quarterback class from last year, he would have gotten taken behind all what was it, 6 of them, right?
I don't agree with that, but I was gonna say I feel like you feel a lot better about Cam Ward if you're taking him at like 10 and he's like the third quarterback
I
going.
agree. I think number one, it's not
Yeah,
a great pick, but what
I
can you?
think as much as they're like Shador Sanders thinks it's like a personal attack, I just think people are scared of the baggage that can come along with him. And if you're one of these teams that's trying to climb out of the cellar already, it's it feels like if these two guys on your board aren't that far away from each other, Cam Ward's kind of like the quiet cocky, or at least quieter cocky. It feels like, and I feel like that's why he jumped him.
For the record, I'm gonna stay on this one. I'm not 100% buying in on it. I feel like there are some stupid teams out there that would consider trading up to number one, and if anyone gives them a serious offer, I could see the Titans jumping on it. So I'm going to hold for now, but them not interviewing anyone else in the draft process is a little suspicious.
This is also, are we assuming like? I guess it could kind of be anywhere. I'm sure there are other rumors, but is Kirk Cousins going to be floated around? Because it feels like I feel like also I just think he could go anywhere for a year or two, like as a bridge quarterback for anybody. So I feel like
I mean, yes, he
that
can
could be
play
a
the
landing
quarterback
spot.
position. This is a factual statement.
You would rather have him than Aaron Rodgers right now.
100% I would. I would rather fucking
Well,
like a pre-aborted fetus over fucking Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. I hate him.
that would also just be a fetus.
Yeah, I guess so. Because I would assume in order to get it out before it's a baby, it would have to be aborted. So I'm
And at
assuming
what point do you consider it a baby, like a life?
Here
uh,
we go.
anyways, next draft rumor. I'm going to skip my number 2 for now because it's more topical at number 3. Uh, next rumor. Start with Eric this time. Buy, sell, or stay that Shador Sanders is going to fall out of the top 10 in the NFL draft.
Uh, I sell. I don't think that that'll happen. I still think he'll get picked in the top 10. I'm trying to think of the. We have to go down
Pulling
the
up
list
the draft
again.
order for you now.
What's up?
I'm pulling up the draft order for you now. So it's Tennessee, Cleveland, the Giants, the Patriots, the Jaguars, the Raiders, the Jets, the Panthers, the Saints, and the Bears are the top 10.
I mean, I feel like the Raiders and the Saints have a case for it potentially, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it'd be kind of crazy for him to fall out of the top 10. I don't think, and it might just be because he's more annoying to me than like Cam Ward has been. Um, but I still don't think. I think that I feel like every single year they have this kind of somebody that they project to go as the first quarterback taken or the first whatever position taken, and then right about now they start having the doubts of like, oh, has their press conference dropped them out? Have they lost draft stock every year? And then like he'll still be taken like third or whatever, like just in the top wherever you think they're going. So I don't think he'll
Mhm.
drop out of 10. So I guess I'm selling that one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Lose.
I sell this pretty hard. It's kind of the same thing as like Cam Ward. I said you feel really good if you get him around like 10 and he's like third quarterback taken. I feel like Shador, um, like you could debate his ceiling, but I think his floor is like he's been an NFL ready passer for a while now, and I think that even if you don't think he's a franchise difference maker at like 2, 3, 4, or you know any of those teams, I think there's someone that'll trade up. Like if he's still floating out there like 7, and you because I think that there's even though I don't think him and Cam Ward are like top end guys like we had last year, I do think there's a steep drop off between them and whoever you consider to be number 3. And so I do think if he sits out there and to pick like 4 and 5 and 6, like those teams are somebody's going to trade up if those teams don't want him. And I don't see him going out of the top 10. I saw people say he's going to get picked by the Steelers. That's ridiculous.
I think the funniest possible outcome is he falls to 15 and the Falcons take him.
I feel like
So
it'd be kind of
I
sick
would
in
love
that
that
too.
actually.
looking at the like next 10 outside of the top 10 for who would trade up, like, you know, I guess the Colts would probably look at him.
Yeah, that's the thing is like so it's like the Giants sign people, the Colts sign people, but it's like the scrubs of the NFL. Like they're
Yeah,
like barely top 40 quarterbacks in the league. Like, do you if Shadur is there and you're the Colts are well coached. The roster is competitive in that division, and like just because you pay Daniel Jones a little bit of money and you're not totally quitting on Anthony Richardson yet, like if Shadur gets to you, you're really not going to take him. Like I would definitely take him.
Do you think that that's the scariest position as a GM to be in, or I guess also a coach if you're heavily involved? Is like you probably whiffed on the last guy you went and got. So like the Colts, like
Yeah,
Richardson showed flashes of being okay, but pretty clearly not going to be like a long term NFL guy. Do you think it's probably the most terrifying thing here because you
yeah.
have to like you might have to take a quarterback, but it's also
Especially
in a year
because
like this sucks. It's just
yeah, especially for them because they've set themselves up where they've created a short term solution where they're like, okay, we fucked up with Richardson. He's still there's like talent in there. Let's bring in some competition because we don't love the class, and we'll just it's a bridge year, even though neither of them are like a standard like bridge quarterback, and you even have like crash and burn into the first pick potential next year, and it's kind of a great plan. But then if you do have Shadur fall to you at 11, it's kind of like irresponsible to not take him. But then it's
yeah.
like, what do you do? Like, you can't trade Richardson while you're on the clock,
Yeah.
probably.
I'm
And
not ready to give up on Richardson if I'm Indianapolis, and if Shador fell to that spot, I don't think I'm ready to give up. I think the upside of Richardson is equal to, if not higher than the upside of Shador in my mind.
I
I don't know if I
disagree with
agree with
that one a lot. Pretty
that.
I feel
heavily.
like
Look at he. It's not just injuries though. He like when he's playing well, even in games like oh the Colts played well today and he blew it up fantasy points wise. He was still like around 50% completion. Uh, it just wasn't. It didn't look good. And I feel like Shador is the opposite. Like he doesn't really use his feet though he can, and he throws the ball all over the fucking field every game.
I feel like the he does have talent and he can make plays in the NFL, but his kind of making plays is like, hey, you're 3 and 4 and you're down 11 and you're like,
exactly.
okay, we could put this game on ice, like my bet cashed here. And then instead he goes touchdown, punt, touchdown to fucking end the game, and all of a sudden you just lost. And then you're like, oh fuck, 4-4 the Colts, who knows? And then you wake up and they're 5-9.
I thought you were talking about Shador that entire time.
Nope, that's all Anthony Richards.
I thought you were talking about Shador. See, Shador to me, I feel like his the talent level that he plays at, like I'm just a little suspicious that I feel like when he was playing top competition in college, he was not putting up like crazy numbers. Like I don't know. I feel like he kind of ate on these like shittier Big 12 teams. Are they in the Big 12 now? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Big 12 teams. Like I feel like I don't know. I feel like I wasn't seeing him putting up highlights against elite defenses and elite prospects. It was more he was running around against, the fucking assholes at Arizona and like, scoring on them.
Well, Anthony Richardson's stats since he came into the league.
Hit me with that
He,
completion percentage.
yeah, he is career
Wait, can I
50,
guess it?
50 sorry.
I was
Yes,
gonna say 54%.
close. You lose prices right though, because it's somehow fucking lower than that. It's 50.6%.
50.6.
Yeah, that's it. And
Dude,
then his and he played much more this season. 47.7 completion percentage with
that's
1,800 yards,
terrible.
8 touchdowns, and 12 picks. So
8 touchdowns, 12 picks.
yes,
Yeah. I mean, I talked about this during the season, but there was a week where I came in from like taking out the trash or something like that, and on Red Zone, Hanson's in the background saying he's 2 for 15 for like it wasn't
yeah,
100. I think it was like 70 yards or something like that. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, I must have
dude,
misheard that. And I was like, oh, maybe that's Anthony Richardson. And then it was
I
Anthony Richardson.
I do agree. He like what sucks is he seems like a good dude and he is incredibly like athletic, but he it's like it doesn't actually. People always say about the guys like Jalen Milrow doing the same thing, like he could play another position and be an asset to the team, and it does suck because it feels like those guys get wasted because it just doesn't happen in the NFL. Like they don't if you're
Yeah.
not on the defensive side of the ball or like an offensive lineman, you don't really switch positions with much success.
Yeah.
My
So
thinking, if I'm the Colts, though, is like I can improve on the margins by taking best player available at a different position of need. And like, if Anthony Richardson isn't the guy next year's quarterback class is so much better than this year's. Like, I would much rather be in a position to be picking top five next year. Like, the Colts
Yeah.
with Shador Sanders are not a Super Bowl contender. Like, they are
Well,
at
that's what I mean.
best.
I think if Shadur's there, you got to trade the pick.
I agree. I think
I don't think you just pick best available.
I think you got to you got to evaluate the packages and stuff. I'm of the mindset like a mid first round pick. Like people usually aren't giving like next year's first or something, but like if the Colts got a call from like, see, that's the thing too. No one behind them really needs a quarterback besides the Steelers. So it's like if you got a
Yeah.
call from Pittsburgh and they were like, hey, we want to trade up to 14, we'll swap 21, and then they'll give you what? A third, a second.
No, I do think I agree with you that like for the 11th pick, you won't get next year's first. But if you could go on the clock at 11 with Shadur available and you want to draft Shadur, you'd probably give up at least next year's second, I think.
I guess. I don't know.
I'd say like probably like a second and like like a swap or two.
I'm not a fan of Shador at all. I think like I just don't like the
Truth
way he
comes out.
plays. What's that?
Whoa. Now
I don't
keep
like the way
going.
he plays. I don't like his daddy one bit. I don't like. I think that the baggage that is going to come with Shador, on top of him being just an okay quarterback, like your head coach, as soon as you go like fucking 2-5 to start the year, there are going to be rumors about you firing your head coach. Like, do you want that brought in the building? Like, do you want the baggage brought in the building? So,
It's kind of ableist to hate Deion Sanders.
yeah,
He's missing
oh yeah,
toes.
oh, I'm thinking of the bald dad who got his fucking leg chopped off.
LeVar. That was crazy. Where just I hadn't heard of him in months or maybe years, and then I just saw like a screenshot of I think it was like somebody's story, and it was like clearly like an amputated leg with like bandages and stuff, and somebody's like LeVar Ball got his foot cut off, and I was like, Why is that automatically LeVar Ball? And then it was LeVar Ball.
That
Anyways,
was a fun time when he was relevant.
dude, I
He
remember
is,
when
dude. He is fucking funny. I remember
What?
being
I
really
thought it was
annoyed by
funny.
him. He is fucking funny, dude.
I remember him saying the N word on Monday Night Raw. Shit, fucking
No, Lamelo said it.
yeah. He said it. He said it into the mic, and then the mic didn't pick it up the full way the first time, so he moved the mic closer to himself to say it on live television.
I
They don't
think I
have a
was
little
watching that
delete
live.
button delay. Got to
What's
like
up?
Mincy. You got to always have a delay.
um,
I'm undefeated, never lost.
anyways, do you guys want to go more quarterback conversation with this next one, or do you want to go a different direction? I'll leave it viewer or listener's choice.
We could go away from it for one. We just did
Okay,
two
go away
quarterbacks.
from it. So the number 2 pick in the draft is owned by the Cleveland Browns. Right now, I would say 55% to 60% of the mock drafts have them taking Abdul Carter at number 2. Are you buying, selling, or staying on that rumor, Lewis?
I probably buy that. The only thing I could see, that's another one where I think if they don't want to take him because they just extended Garrett, and they don't want to take a quarterback because they just brought in the cream of the fucking crop, then I could see him trading the pick, I guess. But I think
Oh,
probably, what was that?
would you think they would sooner trade the pick before looking at Travis Hunter?
Oh, that's, I guess, the conversation. I I get the thing with Travis Hunter. I think I would just rather take somebody like Abdul Carter who dominates at one position than Travis Hunter. That's just been my opinion. It seems like that is not shared among NFL GMs. Seems like every insider related to Travis Hunter is pretty much going to be either the first or second non-quarterback taken, which I don't hate. I guess I mean I would be curious to see how much offense he could play. I've thought all along that he'd probably be like primarily a cornerback, and he would probably, like, if he was a good NFL receiver, I don't think he'd play every snap like he did in college. I think he would probably be like alternate series maybe, or like kind of save for the fourth quarter a little more or something. But yeah, I think if you have an elite pass rusher and that's what Abdul Carter could be, I'd just rather take that.
Yeah, I'm buying it, and I think I'm obviously biased a little bit with Penn State, but I do think he's the best player in the draft. I think by kind of a decent margin. I honestly like
Yeah.
big. I was really like tight with Micah in high school, and he was awesome in college. But I just feel like watching both of them, Abdul Carter was just like every single play that he was in there was an absolute game record to the point where I like recognized way more penalties being committed against him because he just like they couldn't stop him from getting into the backfield and uh, to the point where I think there's like a in a year of down quarterback years, I feel like there's an argument to potentially take him first. Obviously, I guess with everybody's situation is different. I don't hate Travis Hunter though either because I think he got a lot of shit because people were pissed that Genty didn't get the Heisman and they're like saying, "Oh, he's not the best at either one of the two positions he plays. He's just really good." It's still fucking hard to do, but I also have a hot take, I guess, that uh, there's a lot of athletes out there in Division One programs that could, like, if the coach is just like, "Hey, we're going to get a bunch of like attention to our program by having you play both sides of the ball." I truly think there's a bunch that could do it. Um,
Yeah. Not at a Heisman level, but yeah.
yeah, but like so I like him too, but I do think the Browns it might be just their thing where they're just plagued like they're cursed on offense. They're not gonna figure it out. They just have to have an incredible defense that 17 points can win them a football game. So or something like that. So I think I would buy it because I feel like he's a
Yeah.
good fit there,
I
and
just
because it's
I
cheaper. While you just pay Garrett, but like
yeah.
see what happens on his rookie deal, and then
I just, my thing with Hunter is like, like it is a business. You're trying to protect assets, and then also like as age becomes a thing in a couple of years, and putting mileage on your body and stuff. I just feel like it's. I think it's pretty likely that by the end of his rookie contract, he is only playing one position.
Oh
And
yeah,
I think if you are forecasting that, and you don't know when it's going to happen, but you figure at some point in the next 4 years it's going to happen, I I
I
would just
don't think
assume
it's
he's
going
going
to
to
be
be a
that long.
corner.
I think it
I
might
don't
be
either. I think you
pretty.
could
I
see
might.
him play around with it for a year, maybe on a
Yeah,
second year.
I
But
agree. I think that so I like full disclosure, I didn't think Shohei Otani could do it at both sides either. But I'm a firm believer like why would you want a guy like Travis Hunter who like yeah, in college he was playing at a Heisman level both sides of the ball. Like I don't see him being at an even above average level if he is playing both sides of the ball for a full game like he was in college. So like why are you drafting at number 2 a league average DB and a league average wide receiver? Like to me that's not worth it.
and they're
right,
talking
that's
about
like,
how
would
hard
you
it is.
trade the second pick to pick like 17th and 20th? No,
Yeah,
you
Yeah,
wouldn't.
yeah, yeah. Well,
And
just
then also you would have to tie their staminas together.
well,
yeah,
and
like
everybody's like, how hard is it to play that many snaps in college? And then everybody, those same people who are saying like this guy's incredible, which I think he is, but um, are also the ones that are saying like 1% of the most elite players in the world who are playing college football make it to the NFL. So now he's gonna have to do that thing that was so impossible in college at the at an
Yeah.
NFL level against NFL talent, getting beat up like on both sides of the ball the whole time. There's just no, I feel there's no way to keep it up. I mean, Jabril Peppers didn't even try. He wasn't on
Yeah.
the same level,
yeah.
but
I think so. Back to the Abdul Carter like part of this. Like I think that I would buy that rumor that he's going to be taken number 2. I will say though, like I don't think Abdul Carter changes the trajectory of your franchise in the slightest. I think he's a good player. I don't think that he makes the Browns. I like the needle isn't moved for me for the Browns next year with Abdul Carter on the roster.
maybe not the Browns. But
I do agree with that.
I would think
I
that
just,
a team that trying to think like the Bills maybe. I feel
but
like
you can't play that game because, like, if you put him on a team drafting in 20 through 32, like, yeah, he's going to be a huge difference maker because they have other like really good guys on that side of the ball, and he like would there you like as an offense you have to block those guys as well as Abdul Carter. Where like I guess in the Browns you have Myles Garrett there when he's not pretending to be injured, but it's just like I don't know. I really don't think anyone in this draft class is changing a franchise. Like there's not going to be any like Eagles this year who are like just missed the playoffs last year, were a first round exit last year, and then this year they have a really good draft, and those pieces are making them like like Super Bowl contenders and favorites. Like I don't see anyone in this draft who's really doing that, and I think Abdul Carter is going to have a really good NFL career, but I don't think he's going to like be. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't think you can produce at that level from that position.
well, I feel like a lot of these teams that are picking this high in the order are no one player is gonna be plus 5 more wins other than a quarterback.
I guess that's fair to say for just about any position, but
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like this class in general, like there isn't really a quarterback that you think maybe that would move the needle greatly. I guess, but
yeah. I think that the best quarterback that would come out of this class would be someone that is picked in the second or third or
I
fourth round
agree.
who like that pick would have been spent on like a rotational guy for, an offensive line or somewhere on the defense, but instead you got a franchise quarterback out of it. I think those are the only guys who have the potential to like really change a franchise this year.
I'd agree with
Um,
Yeah,
that.
so speaking of quarterbacks, my number 4 draft rumor. Before we got on the pod, I saw a mock draft that had the Steelers taking this gentleman. Are you buying or selling or staying that Jackson Dart will be selected in the first round? If you are buying that rumor, who is taking Jackson Dart in the first round? We'll start. I feel like Lewis is going to have more opinions on this, so we'll start with Lewis and then we'll go to Eric.
Yeah, I think we're finally going to differ here. I buy this. I do think he's the third best quarterback in the draft, and I think even if the Steelers don't take him, I think somebody will, either a bad team that took best available, that picks early in the second round, maybe trading into the back end of the first round, or um, or even like a mid round pick. I mean, last year there was 4 guys that you really thought were going to be first rounders, and you said maybe Penix, maybe Nix. They both went in the top 12. Like, if there's a team that thinks he can be a franchise quarterback, and I bet you out of 32 teams, at least one thinks that. And I just think, if they think they're getting value on him, I agree that there's not a ton of teams picking outside of the top like 12 or 13 that really are in dire straits for a quarterback. But I do think if you're kind of in a middling situation, uh, he is the kind of guy that you just take a shot on, right? He's like a big, strong white dude who can throw the heck out of it. Um, and yeah, I think he's going to be a first round pick. I don't see there only being 2 quarterbacks taken, and so I buy it. And I do think it's likely he goes to the Steelers.
I think it might shock you that I wanted to zag just because so that we could play. But I feel like I was texting you guys a while ago. I was very on Jackson Dart like all college football season. I did.
Mm-hmm.
We had a little bit of a bad couple of weeks
It's because
together
he
when
lost us that
he
parlay when we
lost
were all
us that
together.
fucking bet when you were here. I was pissed at it. Well, I think I was more pissed at why is the coach blanking?
Kiffin.
Kiffin. I was more pissed at Kiffin because it just seemed like an absolute like fuck job. But I've been high on him to the point where like if the Dolphins had an early second round pick, I would be pumped if we took Dart with that. But I do like the point that I was going to make is the exact one you were saying. All the guys that we thought were going to bleed into the second round went in the top half of the first round last year. So
Yeah.
I do think I also think I've said it to you guys kind of as a joke to piss you off potentially back in the day, but I've said it to you guys that I think he'd be a fun pick for the Steelers. I think I would like to see that because I don't hate on your team as much as you guys hate on my teams. I think he would be a fun,
I love
I
the
think he'd be a fun
Pirates.
Steeler. I'm looking at the draft order. If the Seahawks made in my mind, it was a silly move. Like they had,
Yeah.
it's essentially like a lateral move. Yes, he's younger, but you could have just been okay bridging the gap. You have this pick here. I feel like he would have been an awesome fit there if they hadn't gotten rid of made that trade. Um, I mean, looking at everybody else, like you guys are the best fit here for this. Unless like they were, I mean, you wouldn't really take a person in the first round and then sit him behind Stafford for as long as Stafford still has left. But yeah, I think it'd be you guys. And if he makes it to the second round again, I really don't think he will. It's like,
If he goes to the second round, I think he's like top 10 pick in the second round.
I mean,
is he a Giant? Is he a Raider?
I don't see
If
I don't see why the Browns would not take him at
I
33.
was thinking about that too.
Right?
Yeah,
I think the trade. So I like Lewis's idea of someone because I think that's how it's going to happen. Is someone's going to trade up for him in the first round. I personally don't think the Steelers would take him just because I feel like they got really burned by Kenny Pickett, and I feel like drafting a quarterback for the sake of drafting one again is
they're so different. That Kenny Pickett every single person in their right mind saw that that was an absolute mistake.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me. There has to be something that like
A quarterback with an X in his first name, that's not the Steeler way, though, if we're
I
being
agree.
honest.
I agree.
hmm,
Not saying the Steeler way is the standard anymore. Well, the standard is
The
standard, but
standard is the standard. Write that
yeah,
down.
not saying the Steeler way is the way to go anymore. This isn't 1975, but uh, it's still just not something that they'll do. But it is
last name is
it is a
fucking
player that it
Dart.
is a player they'd take. But
His last name
yeah,
is Dart.
To
that's
me,
another one too. It's like you got to have a yeah. It's got to be more obscure than that.
to
Mason
me,
Rudolph.
if a team is trading out of the first round, it's either Detroit or Philly to get ahead. So a team would have to trade up ahead of the Browns there. Um, I think I'm selling that rumor. I think that there's going to be a lot of smoke around him going first round, but I think if Shador slides, then that's going to plug a gap that would have been plugged by Jackson Dart in the first round.
Yeah, you guys don't have a second round pick.
I bet he
Yes, they
goes in the
traded
teens.
him
If I'm being
for
honest.
they traded it for DK Metcalf.
I would take as a Dolphins fan, I would take um, Quinn Ewers in our second round pick.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm. My stance has always been. I wish we would have re-signed Fields, and then yeah, like a Ewers or Kyle McCord or somebody like that
Will
in a
Howard.
Kyle
later
McCord
round.
he feels like a Steeler
Yeah.
Um,
Okay,
or a
Max.
Bronco for some reason.
all right,
I
so
mean,
number five, we're done with quarterback talk now. We're gonna go skill position talk. So wide receiver draft class right now is looking like Tedero McMillan, Matthew Golden from Texas, Jaden Higgins from Iowa State, Emeka Ibuka from Ohio State, and then Trey Harris from Ole Miss. I think all of those guys are potential first round picks. My draft rumor for you is, will Tyler Warren be picked before any of those wide receivers? A lot of mocks I see have him getting taken like eighth by ninth by the Saints, eighth by the Panthers. I've even seen the Raiders at number six rumored. So,
from the Jets.
Here, Eric can go first. I need to
Eric,
pull up the draft order.
Eric, thoughts on Tyler Warren getting drafted ahead of any of those wide receivers? Why
Um,
sell or stay?
I think I would probably sell. I think he'll be very close. I think there's probably gonna be one that sneaks in above him. Um, I the He's very versatile and he is more of like a complete tight end than some of our guys have been recently, where they're predominantly pass catchers and they're not blocking very well. I think he fits the mold for a lot of different teams, which is also why I feel like he might slide a little bit more, just because like he doesn't. I don't think he necessarily fixes any issue or need. I think he's just like an awesome addition to an offense. So I do think, although it might be one other person before him. I think he's still getting picked pretty high, but I think Kyle Pitts scared some people off a little bit of drafting tight ends that high in the draft. Though I do think, well, I don't know, man. Like coming out of college, the two of them at the time, you probably would rather have Kyle Pitts, obviously, without seeing what's gone on in the NFL at this point. But I do think that they've scared him off a little bit. So I think I'm going to sell that. I think someone's going before him.
Okay.
I'm looking right now. Um, so Travis Hunter is not included in this, right?
Yes, this is excluding Travis Hunter.
I think I buy this actually. I think he's gonna go fifth to the Jags. I just looking at it, I think it's Ward. Then I like Abdul Carter to the Browns. I don't think you can. I think the Giants either trade the pick or just take Shador. I think
Giants need so much; it's hard to figure out like what they actually
right.
like. Where do you start?
And then I think the Pats take Hunter. And then if you look at the Jags roster, they just had Brian Robinson break out. And I think you either take a second receiver to pair with him, or I think you take Warren. And Ingram's gone. I think like they could really use a tight end and a guy who's going to be seemingly a high end one. And like the Raiders pick next, and they have Bowers obviously. So I don't see they're take a receiver candidate. So if the Jags take like a lineman or a defender, then this will probably be wrong. But I could see him going to 5. I
Yeah,
think Eric's probably right though. I think one of those guys probably sneaks in before him.
Yeah, I wonder how satisfied they. I know, like, I mean, other Penn State guy, but didn't Brenton Strange come on as like fine for them at the end of the year last year, or like
I think
halfway through?
Yeah,
he gets the job done.
Yeah, like, yeah, I guess it's tough if you have a serviceable guy there to kind of roll the dice on this position high up that doesn't get done too often. But I do agree. I mean, he is like incredible. So
I guess the question for me at tight end is like, do you value a top tight end over a top wide receiver in your offense? Would you rather have like a clear cut number one wide receiver, or like a top 5 in the league tight end?
I feel
receiver.
like playing quarterback back in the day, I really wanted a good tight end because selfishly, if you need them to block and have that extra man down on the line, if they're complete, like I think that he is, and then also being able to catch passes as well as he does and do things like that, I think that's pretty valuable. Just like as a big ass dude, he's listed as 6'6", like 260 or something. Because I guess it comes down to like block, like the completeness. I'm like all old school. I really want somebody who will actually block and do all of their job, because I feel like receivers is like, how often are you going to get the ball to them, um, spread amongst the other three or whatever other two options that you have. But I guess
I
they're
I,
adapting though.
I do think a very high end tight end impacts your offense more than pretty much any receiver outside of Chase and Jefferson, I
Yeah.
think. But I do think just like with the way the NFL is now, and like pass interferences is a thing, and like everything is just so passing driven that if you have a guy that you could get the ball in his hands, like, or if you could target him like 8 to 10 times a week, and he's going to get you like 1,700 all-purpose yards, like it's just not something that a tight end can do. But I do think like Brock Bowers, if you were drafting skill position players, like I don't think running backs would be taken very high because of just the retention rate. But like Brock Bowers, he might be a top 5 pick amongst tight ends and receivers.
Yeah. I think the security blanket like idea with tight ends is very like enticing to teams. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that Warren would fall past the Panthers at 8. I would imagine the Panthers are saying like,
He's a great fit there, actually.
yeah, like I would imagine they're like, all right, if Bryce Young is our guy, we got him a wide receiver last year, right? The dude who like speaks in tongues from fucking South Carolina. And then, we're gonna
Legit.
get him a tight end, and if he can't produce with this supporting cast, then what?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think if I had a young quarter, I think that was going to be my point too. Is young quarterback developing confidence, get him a big old tight end. Like if you had a Jason Witten to just come in and catch balls in his prime for uh, Bryce
To,
Young, like that could fix some issues.
Yeah. I think
yeah.
most fun team would be the Bears at 10, just because I think that they
Yeah.
have some fun wide receivers there already. And like if Caleb Williams is a guy, like
Well,
that could be
and
fun offense. But
That's
I,
one. It's
will
so
be
funny that they'd probably be like, "Well, we have Cole Kmet, so let's just take somebody
yeah,
on defense." Like,
one, and Ben Johnson would be
he loves
would
tight
be
ends.
forgot about Ben
fun
Johnson. Yeah.
to go with him there.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna stay on that rumor for now. I'm waiting till more information comes out, but I'm willing to buy
yeah.
that. because I
I
think a
forgot
lot.
stay is an option.
Yeah, me too. Because I
That's what
probably
I
would
should
have
have
picked
took
Stay over
actually.
Sell.
All right, so last NFL draft rumor. It's another skill position rumor. Will Ashton Genty get picked in the top 10? Lewis, you can go first.
Well, I kind of just broke it down. I think the Raiders could get a little frisky and do that. Um, the Jets would not. The Panthers just paid two different running backs, and both of them aren't their first round pick from last year.
You
So
have to factor into like there are some really dumb front offices picking in this top 10. Like
yeah,
I feel
I
like
could see the Raiders doing it. I could see the. I guess not the Saints. I could see the Bears doing it. I feel like nobody in the whole league is really ever that high on DeAndre Swift. I've always thought that he was a pretty good player, but yeah, I could see the Raiders. I could see the Bears. I don't actually. I kind of want to sell this. Actually, I think he's gonna go.
I don't think he gets past Dallas at 12.
Didn't they just sign somebody?
Did they?
Maybe not of consequence. I mean, he's not gonna go to the Niners. Yeah, I think. I think I'd probably sell it. Well, okay. Do you think who's a better prospect, him or Bijan?
I would say Bijan personally.
I think so too.
I think the run and pass catching ability is much better with Bijan.
Right. So I think so too. He went 8, and I think in this class, like we were just saying, there's like 5 guys that you could lock up, throw away the key, are gonna be top 10 picks. There's gonna be at least one receiver in there, maybe 2. We haven't even talked about a lineman. We haven't even talked about a second defensive player. Like,
For the listeners, that's on purpose. Those picks are boring.
yeah. No, yeah, I'm just saying, like, there's probably, I think the Raiders are maybe the only team that's likely to take him.
I think you can have. I think there's a chance that the Raiders. I think the teams we just mentioned that could take Tyler Warren are in play for Ashton Genty.
Yeah.
And I can also see teams if teams are thinking the Bears are going to take him at 10, I think the Cowboys would consider trading up for it. I'm trying to think.
Yeah,
who
but
else.
like, do you?
I think whatever
You're
front
really gonna
office
trade up for a running back? That's
I
crazy.
think whatever front office drafts Ashton Genty is getting fired within 2 years. I think Genty's a very good prospect. I think drafting a running back in the first round, especially in the top 10, is a futile move. But Eric, thoughts?
Which one was you said he was? I'm selling or buying that he is going to be drafted in the top 10 or outside the top 10.
Inside the top 10, are you buying, selling, or staying on that rumor? Lewis,
Well,
you're
so
selling?
I was going to immediately say he was going to be drafted outside of the top 10, and then I was just looking up because I was trying to think. Now that I said mentioned Ben Johnson, I just keep thinking like they're going to want a bunch of new toys, which they already have like fun position players and everybody to play around with. And then I think this says this is Pete Prisco's mock draft, and he has the Bears trading up into the Jag spot to take him.
Like that's
Bears going
Which I-
up.
that's
yeah, Pete
insane.
Prisco. He has the. I mean, he also had. Yeah, he
He
has
is a
them.
Jags insider.
It's
I mean,
just
that's fucking crazy, though.
if you look at the rest of this
Why
running
would they do that? Do they think the Jags are going to take him?
no, I think they think
That's
I
the
don't
ironic thing is like they wouldn't trade you the pick if they think you're
Yeah,
going to
that's
take
what.
the
Yeah,
same
so
person.
Raiders are taking him at 6.
I mean, the
You don't think
Bears,
the Raiders
they
is
attacked the
good
line
for
in free agency, so I could see if they kind of like the state of their defense, I could see them taking him.
Maurice Jones-Drew is doing mock drafts now.
Dude, he does everything that you wouldn't expect him to do. He does.
I
Did he
mean,
lose weight or something?
Well, okay, there's one thing that he doesn't do.
so just looking at the rest of this running back class, I think this running back class is so deep. Why would you waste the first? Like,
I agree with that.
you have Amari Hampton from North Carolina. You have Travion Henderson. You have Quinshawn Judkins. You have Cam Scatabo. Scattaboo?
He's a fun one.
Scatterbo.
Is it Bo or Boo?
I think it's
He,
Bo, but it
he's
is.
going to be one that if he's in your division and not on your team, you're going to fucking hate him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to be just the most hated player.
I do have a hot take here. I don't know how to quantify this, so like this, I'm just saying something. I totally get that. I kind of think Travion Henderson's gonna have the best career of all the running backs in this class.
I think I'd agree with that, actually. I think
Yeah,
I feel like he gets slept on because, like, Quinshawn Judkins kind of came in and, like, took his
yeah.
job, kind of, but he was a very good running back. I think this running back class, like, if you need a running back, you're in really good shape.
Mm-hmm.
I think all of the top 5 running backs, I think, are all going to be like fantasy guys in like a year or two.
Yeah, this is like I felt dumb about. Yeah, I really, if the Steelers could somehow figure out quarterback, either by like, I don't think there's really an option now to like trade the first and to get somebody. I think it's most likely just going to be Rodgers, if I'm being honest. But like, I'd love to take one of those running backs in the second.
I really
I would.
badly want you to take Jackson Dart now, I think.
I wouldn't hate it. I
If you
think
took
it's
Dart,
like,
if you took Dart and still got one of those running backs in the second round, would you be upset? Like that's too.
Steelers don't
Like,
have a second round pick though. That's the thing.
oh yeah.
oh
I mean,
fuck,
not
yeah, I
yet.
forgot.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
yet, but I mean,
now.
is a second round pick
What if we traded? What if we traded DK Metcalf for a bunch of seconds? Do
now?
you
What
think
if?
somebody would do that?
What if
I fucking forgot he was a Steeler.
we'll trade you? Nah, never mind.
So
You don't want to make a binding trade live on the
I
air
was
right
gonna
now
trade you the second round, our second round pick, so that you can get them
for
for.
nothing,
I was
just for
trying
my
to think of
happiness.
somebody on your team that I'd want
how about
that
the
would be in
corpse
the
of Cam
nuclear lesson.
Hayward?
Huh? Second round pick for Cam
30,
Hayward.
37-year-old body of Cam Hayward.
I'll take a offensive lineman
Oh, you just missed Dan Moore.
or a
Just left town.
linebacker.
Sorry.
Do you guys have any guys in this draft who are not first round picks that you think are going to be guys in the league?
I just said one. I think he's. Well, I guess he's probably gonna be a first round pick. I think
I could see him
Judkins
slipping.
too.
I would allow
Yeah, I think both of them. I think like I do like last year. I feel like there was kind of a step towards actually like the RBs are more valuable conversation,
that. Mm-hmm.
and so I could see that going one of two ways. One being a lot of these guys sliding and a couple teams getting really good value, or I could see for the first time in a long time teams potentially quote unquote investing in the running back position and going to grab one of those guys like early second. I could see like 5 running backs being gone in the first like 50 picks.
Yeah, I think
That might be my. It didn't really answer your question, but that might be a roundabout way of like hot
Oh,
taking that.
I have a good one.
okay.
And it's just because he absolutely lit us up. But I think Tez Johnson could be a fun little like quick slot guy for them. And also, he's clearly like I think it's pretty far away from a first round pick. Not really, not even the top 2 at his position. But Harold Fannin Jr. could end up
I was gonna.
being could be good. I think
Who is
he
this?
might be a definitely not first round worthy kind of guy, who could end up being pretty good for a team. So
He is the Connor and I used to make fun of Eric that he should win the I forget who the award's named after, but the best tight end award. He should get it over
The
Warren,
Mackey Award.
the Mackey. Yeah,
Oh, the guy from Bowling Green.
yeah.
yeah,
Okay. I'm going to be honest, guys. I'm really big on Will Howard. I'm
No,
not
you're
even
not.
joking. I'm big on Will Howard. I think he's going to be
I
a.
think didn't John Gruden say he's the second coming of Josh Allen?
Did he?
I think I saw him say that.
I mean, hell yeah! Welcome to the fucking pirate ship, John.
He doesn't even look. He's not even built like him, right? Isn't
I,
he like my size?
I just there's something about him. I feel like he's. I don't think he's going to be a star in the league, but Will Howard is going to be like an NFL starter in the like 10 to 20 range in terms of how good. Like we're going to have
Games total in their career.
no like when you're ranking NFL quarterbacks, Will Howard will be in that 10 to 20 range.
He's gonna be a top 20 quarterback in the league at some point.
Max,
That's
I don't
I
think
think
I
for
don't think he'll
1
play.
year.
I don't think he'll play 30 games.
I think there will be 1 year where we're having a conversation: is Will Howard elite?
How about all right? Do you want to set an over? Do you want to set an over under?
1 year where we're looking each other in the eyes and we're saying, Will Howard, is this it? Is this what we're doing?
Five seasons from now, let's set the over under at. We'll do two seasons worth of starts. 30, 33 and a half.
I think
33
if he
and a half
starts
games.
one season, if he starts one season, that proves my point. If he starts 16 games in the NFL,
No, it
Well,
doesn't.
we think he's the 10th, potentially the 10th best
all right.
quarterback
I
in the
think
league.
no. I said 10 to
10
20.
to 20.
You know what? Let me rephrase. I will go 15 to 20. I will.
So you're saying he might be better than Trevor Lawrence?
You think Trevor Lawrence is that bad?
Trevor Lawrence is barely, I'd say he's top, like he's probably 16, 15, 16.
I'd have to go through it in my head, but
Yeah, he's a little close to the
He's
middle
top
these
half.
days.
I think you get Will Howard in the right situation, and I think there's a lot of teams in which he would fit their situation, then he wouldn't fit it. I think Will Howard's going to be a guy.
I think he's worse than Sean Clifford.
I think that's just hearsay. Worse than a like not even backup level quarterback. Dude just wanted
Cliff
to
was the starter at Penn State for 3 years and has all of the passing records. And he's scram. I think he only has a spot when somebody gets hurt for them. But I think Cliff is better than Will Howard. Just like fell ass backwards into the fucking Ohio State starting job.
Can you,
saying wasn't ready yet?
Eric? Can you do me a favor real quick? Can you pull up Will Howard's stats from this past year, 2024?
Yes. Did you have this up recently?
Not super recently, but I want you to let me know when you have it up.
I don't. But stats are important, but
No, I know. Just
I'm trying to consolidate them all for the whole season. All right, total.
so, what are the stat lines up top? Like, is it like QB completion percentage? Like
The playoff. Yeah, the playoff makes this way more difficult than it has to be. Okay. 73% completion percentage.
No. I know those stats. I know those. Like, what are the stats up top? The headers. What are those?
4,000 yards, 35 touchdowns, 10 ints, and an 89 QBR.
Is that all the stats that they have listed?
I don't know if you. Yeah, that is. Are you getting at something?
At some point, you got to just say what your point is.
I think that what you're failing to realize is you can't measure the moxie in which he plays with.
Oh.
And I think that is the intangible that's going to put him over the top. That's going to put him over the top in the league, and I think you guys aren't ready for it.
All right, here's a little exercise we could do. I just pulled up a random list. Just some random journalist decided to rank every quarterback in the league, or every primary starting quarterback in the league. Let's just go through and say if we'll think Will Howard will ever be better than this person, and we could take the temperature. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Lamar.
No.
All right, that's one. Josh Allen.
No. We could skip the 12 probably.
Right. All right. Joe Burrow 3.
No.
Somebody. I know somebody's gonna do this. Jared Goff.
No.
He's not.
Close.
No. He's a quarterback of the best offense in the league.
The only thing you can say is that's a relative comparison to
I think that is.
Ohio State on the college football level.
I think Jared Goff this past year is Will Howard's peak.
I'm saying no.
In college.
I'm saying no. All right, that's 4. Darnold.
Yeah,
No.
I wouldn't solidly put Darnold on this list. I think last year.
Yeah, that's a crazy one, I thought.
Okay, so we're still at 4. Baker.
No.
Jaden Daniels. No. Mahomes. Jesus, this guy's Mahomes
No.
at 8. Mahomes. No.
tough critic.
Herbert. No.
Just one season. No.
Justin Herbert.
Yeah. Don't even. Are you kidding me?
Justin Herbert is a fantastic player on paper, and I think that, if Will Howard is in the right situation, I think he has a better career than Justin Herbert does.
The
Will Howard
Chargers
would
suck
have to
when he
be-
doesn't play.
The Chargers
and
suck when he does play half the time.
He would have to be in like the Brock Purdy situation of like 3 or 4 years ago, whenever it was. He would have to be in the most perfect situation of all time.
And I think there are some perfect
And
situations.
have injuries happen.
Okay,
He wouldn't win the
it
starting
has his
spot.
stats. It has his stats right here, and I know stats aren't everything. 66% completion, 3,870 yards, 7.7 yards per attempt, 23 touchdowns, 3 picks. He will never ever do that ever.
Picture this. Hang with me. Detroit Lions take him. 4th round, 5th round, let's even say. Jared Goff goes down week 2, week 3.
Yeah, they're the best team in the fucking league.
Exactly. You have the weapons around him.
But that doesn't mean, dude, people still act like Brock Purdy isn't
I
top
think you're
20.
forgetting that Hendon Hooker would probably come in the game first.
That's a good point.
I think I'm squatting on that take. I'm going to negotiate 3 years. Give me 3 years. Will Howard will start
Well,
19 games in the NFL.
the Lions already have Will Howard. on
That
their
is
team.
that's not that doesn't
Jake
prove
Fromm,
what you're
they already
saying.
have
though.
Will Howard on their team. Jake Fromm is the 3rd string quarterback in Detroit.
Will Howard's better than Jake Fromm.
They both played with Moxie in college on an elite team.
But if you say he's going to play 19 games, Mason Rudolph has played 19 games in a 3-year span for the Steelers. Like,
All right. I
it
guess
doesn't make him a.
I said it at 34, like 33 and a half, 34 and a half. 2 seasons worth.
2 seasons worth in 3 years. Because I think this first year it's hard to judge because he's probably not going to get that starting job right away. So
I'll give you his whole rookie contract.
Definitely
I
not
don't think he's
gonna
going to
get
play
the
20
starting
games.
job right away.
rookie contract for 20 games.
Yeah.
I'll take that. Take that.
Okay.
I'll get wet if not. I'll get wet. I'll eat a bowl of soup in the shower if he doesn't.
Are we finishing this exercise, or is that's the new?
We can keep going if you want, but I think that should be the metric. 20 games in the span of his rookie contract.
I really
Okay,
don't
well,
know who I would.
We have 8 right now. Geno Smith. I wouldn't argue. I've never been huge on Geno Smith.
I would think his peak is better.
Jordan Love, no.
Probably not.
Love is frustrating, but I don't think
Matt
so.
Stafford, no. That's 10. Brock Purdy. You said Goff is his peak. I think Purdy is his peak.
I think Purdy and Goff's peaks are very similar. I think that
Goff is a better player than Brock Purdy.
I guess, but to me that's splitting hairs. I think Goff, I don't know. I think Goff is a little overvalued.
He took 2 teams that far though. Purdy
Yeah.
just fell into like an incredible roster on a really weak NFC, in a really weak NFC, or at least top heavy.
Okay. Bryce Young. I think
think
end
he's
of the year
never-
Bryce Young.
He might be Bryce Young's peak.
Yeah, the jury's out, I think, on that one. This is still 10 though. Kyler. No.
No, probably not.
Jalen Hurts, no.
No.
Dude, Eagles fans should read this list. Jalen Hurts at 16. Bo Nix. I don't think I put him over Bo Nix.
No. But that's the thing though. Max, you cannot fight this Bo Nix one because Bo Nix plays with the most moxie of the NFL,
Right.
probably.
I guess.
you can't-
I think Bo Nix, I need to see more I need to see more from Bo Nix.
He would have a maxed out Moxie bar in this ESPN stat list.
I'm trying to
Okay.
find him in this mock draft here to just get a sample team of what he would go to for this
This
exercise.
might.
Yeah, you're
How
gonna have
about
to pull for a
Tua?
while, so let us know when you get there.
I'm in
Tua.
the 4th round.
I wouldn't take him over Tua.
I wouldn't take him over Tua. Other than that, the injury thing, but still,
Dak Prescott.
no.
I don't think so either.
This
That's
guy had-
15. Drake May. No.
Tua over Dak Prescott.
I mean, they're 18 and 19.
It feels a little. I would take Dak over Tua. I think Dak's actually
Okay.
a decent quarterback. But anyways,
Drake May. I get that he's a rookie, but I would say probably not.
as of now, the way Drake May's career is trending now, I would not be confident.
Okay, that's 16. Stroud, no.
No.
Russell Wilson, it depends. I guess it's like Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. It depends.
I don't
I
think
guess
Yeah.
them in their current state, no.
Yeah.
Because it would be them in their
They were
current state.
both
So yeah.
top 5 quarterbacks like 10 years ago.
Yeah. And then we get into Cousins, Carr, Trevor Lawrence, Caleb Williams.
I definitely wouldn't take him
So
over
we got
Tua.
to 17 that I feel like he's not really passing. Maybe one or two of those guys fall off. And then you're saying he would be a really good quarterback. And at the same time, Caleb Williams, Trevor Lawrence, Cam Ward, Shadur Sanders, like none of those guys would be better than him.
I
He
feel
also would have to. He would have to. Like somebody would have to get hurt.
to
for him
me,
to
Yeah.
play.
Will
Hard.
Howard just is physically looks like a quarterback and is going to sling the ball around. And if he finds the right place to play where he has like good pass catchers surrounding him, I think he's in a very good spot to be an elite guy in the league.
Yeah. I guess the way you got to look at it is if you the quarterback you're saying yes or no to, if you put Will Howard on their team, do they get better? Or could they be better in
Like
3 years?
to me,
Well, I
so
just
I'm
don't.
reading
He's going in the 5th round. He's not going to be starting for anybody. So it's really hard. I feel like it's hard to.
like I'm looking at this mock right here. This has the Rams taking him in the 4th round. Like if he ended up with Sean McVay as his coach and spends a year under Stafford, like I think I like Will Howard a lot. Like
They'd have to pick up a lot of stuff in the next couple. I guess Puka is really good, but
I mean,
they're
I
but
kinda
think
like-
they'd just be like 7-10 a bunch. I don't know.
I think if he finds himself in the right system, he can be a guy. I think I'm squatting on that take.
I just
All
hate
right.
his fucking face. I hate the kid.
I mean,
Yeah.
hey, I hate him too. I'm an Ohio State hater through and through.
Well,
That
if your biggest thing is like quarterback presence, large, delivers the ball, would you
I
have the
should work
same
in the
thing about
Broncos
Alec?
front office.
Drew Aller is going to be the greatest quarterback this league has ever seen. All right.
Yeah, you're also assuming he's not going to be, or that he's going to be better than Drew Aller.
No, he will not be better than Drew Aller. Drew Aller will be
All right,
the
that's a
number one.
spot. That's a spot taken up.
They're going to rename the Lombardi after Drew Aller when he is finished in this.
Okay.
But I want that written down.
Yeah.
I'm big on Will Howard, and I'm eager to see where he lands.
Sure. Okay, I got to bounce. So, yeah, listen, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and YouTube. And then follow on the TikTok, the Instagram, the Twitter, all that stuff is Mass Debaters. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you all next time.